Head over to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified when we put up a new video. Also, man, leave a comment so we can know what you think about our program. Thank ya. Head over to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified when we put up a new video. Also, man, leave a comment so we can know what you think about our program. Thank ya.
Someone told me about your love, how you came from heaven above, how you came and died for me, died on Calvary. No wind, no rain, no grief, no pain can separate me from your love, so free. Someone told me about your love, how you came from
Hey everybody,
heaven
welcome again to Ishden. It's your boy Robert Green. I'm really excited about this project. You know, we started about a week ago, just airing and stuff. And it's been moving just to get some of the reviews, you know, of what this program has been doing for people. Had one on Sunday and it was sent to me by Napoleon. I listened about a minute of it and tears welled up in my eyes. I couldn't continue to listen, but I'm going to listen it through. I promise you. You know, last week we kind of just defined the terms maleness, masculinity, manhood, and what these things mean. What does it mean to be a penile human being? A human being with a penis. What does it mean? And how can we unearth some of these things? So we've been doing that. We did that last week just by having a conversation, brother to brother conversation. As I said before, you know, we're trying to make sure that as iron sharpens iron, so one man or two men will sharpen others. And we're just doing it through our experience and just honest, transparent conversation. So on Saturday, I went into Kingston to do a cooking gig. And while I was in Kingston, I'm like, why journey back to Montego Bay, try to get a Zoom meeting? Why not just meet up with my brother in person and have this conversation? So Napoleon and I met at his office over there in Marvelly Gospel Hall, I think it is. And we just sat down as two brothers and we had a conversation. Our conversation this week was about the whole aspect of self-forgiveness. And you might ask, what is self-forgiveness? Self-forgiveness for us is embracing God's freedom that is given to us by grace. Yes, we know we are accountable for our actions, but if God has removed our sins so far away from us as the east is from the west, why should we allow ourselves to be burdened by these sins where we can't mentally move away from them, emotionally move away from them, and have the peace and the freedom that God has afforded us? So we sat down and had this conversation, Napoleon and myself, and we just encourage you to listen to two men speaking candidly about our own struggles, and hopefully this will be a blessing for you. This is Ishden. Stick and stay and enjoy the conversation.
All right, welcome again to Ishden, and obviously we're not on Zoom this week. We are brothers in each other's company. He was ragged about his open mic shirt earlier.
Yes.
By one of his daughters. I know them love him, so I know it's all a good gesture, or good faith. So we are here again. Last week was very good, and some of the reviews we got on Facebook, YouTube, and from our channel FBN, we took into consideration. Well, I took them into consideration. Not Paul and about most of them yet, but I'll just throw them at him. He's a bright man. Yeah, he's a very bright man. So we want to make sure that he's taken off guard. So most of the things them
just flow
and flow naturally.
Yeah.
I want to kick off this evening our program today with a poem. We're going to look at.
Where's that poem from, Bobby?
It's from a book called Instinctive.
Where can we get a copy?
It's not available yet, as it said, not to see it. Right? It's a book of poems. It's entitled Anthropological Poetry by Robert Greene, Instinctive. And some of the things in it is life representing art, or life being expressed through art. So this is a poem entitled Confession. If I mess up, I haven't read this poem in a long, long time. Too busy doing church work. Confession.
That's a good confession.
Father, forgive me for I have sinned. It's been 1 minute since my last confession. I have been thinking things that would bring me shame. Thoughts that are sacrilegious to his temple and the owner's name. There's a battle of the titans going on in my head. I am laying in a grave because I am walking, I still feel dead. My mind is laden with landmines that are lethal to my soul. They could decapacitate me, leaving me less than whole. I feel insanity rushing through the lobes of my brain. Every attempt to change my thoughts have always proven in vain. Father, it's not that I find pleasure in this inflicting of pain. The failures I am running from just keep happening again and again. I look for a different result, although my sins are the same. I am struggling to find help, but it seems futile even when I call on his name. I feel like the sinner of sinners, shackled by chains of defeat, sinful desires that have impaired my actions, causing my failures to repeat. I am burdened by my lust and seeking some reprieve. I find myself doubting the reality of the truth I claim to believe. It is not that I enjoy being bound to this plague of sin, for I have asked for help, but no one seems to be listening. No one paid attention to my cry for freedom from this heart of infidelity. They ignore my plea, my bellowing for deliverance from spiritual insanity. I have searched to my soul, really searched to my soul, its width and its depth. Father, I need help to bring my soul out of the cistern of Hades. This death that seeks to devour me in hell like fire to dry trees. Father, who shall deliver me and my soul from this bondage of sin? Who will quench the fire of hell that's fighting within? My face is stained from tears. I continue to cry. My shame sometimes makes me just want to lay down and die. This tension in my soul ignited by the callous carcass of my pain. Father, hear my confession. It's your strength I'm seeking to gain. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have sinned against him. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have sinned against you.
Powerful, Bobby. And as you read, my mind just went back to some great men of the faith.
Mm-hmm.
I think of John the Beloved.
Yeah.
So there's John now having this wonderful experience with God, and he gets to see history from beginning to end,
Yeah.
from eternity to eternity, and after that high point,
Mm-hmm.
he bows down and he worships the angel. In that moment when he's on this spiritual high,
Yeah.
he worships an angel. He commits idolatry.
Mm-hmm.
How? And it just goes to remind us of this reality
Yeah.
that we have to live with. And not only the cry to God for forgiveness, but also the recognition that in ourselves we know better.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why the importance, and that's why self-forgiveness is so important. And we learn to say, why I am forgiving you for just what happened a while ago.
Yeah.
Or we think of Peter. There is Peter saying, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And then Jesus begins to talk about death and suffering, and so Peter pulls him and says, no, brethren, that can't be.
Yeah, no, not you.
And then Jesus says, brethren, take away yourself.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that now come from him, that come from hell. And we get these narratives. We think of Elijah, how Elijah do these great things, and then the woman said, boy, get you for this.
Watch me, yo.
Sister Jezebel said, watch out, what going on here? And he started to run, and sometimes we find ourselves high, low, in between. And it reminds us that the Christian journey is on these two tracks, as we see.
Yeah.
Positive things happening and negative things happening. And sometimes that's a problem because we don't hear our Christian life in those terms. We don't hear that on one side the growth and the development is happening, while on the other side we're still struggling and we're still going through and we're still falling down and getting up, and we don't hear that side. And in a way too, an understanding of the scriptures push us there, because when you think, for instance, as a verse that says, if you're born of God, you can't continue sinning.
Yes, sir.
That make kind of like
seed of God is in
you
you.
see it in a sense.
Yes,
you
sir.
can't continue sinning. What that mean? You know? And when you read Romans 6, if you read Romans 6, if you don't understand it properly and put it properly with belong, it drives you crazy. You know? And so these are some of the things that we have to keep the balance. And this is why, so many of us as Christians, we don't know freedom because we don't know forgiveness.
True.
We don't know how to let ourselves go for the wrong things we did yesterday and a minute ago. We don't appreciate some of the principles that God gives us. When He says to us and says to you and to me, you are in Christ, what does it mean that you are the righteousness of God?
Yes, sir.
Me not ready for that yet, Bobby.
No, it's Napoleon. Like, Him know our sins. Right? We can't talk about why sins come a signal. Right? But it is a reality. You know, like I question these things.
Yeah.
I coined a little phrase from the John episode when I spoke about worship. He was in the height of revelation, but in the depths of feelings in his adoration.
Absolutely.
And it like the man was in there, he was filled with the Spirit, obviously.
Yes.
He was in whatever state he was in. But here is a godly man who they worship.
I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day.
Yes, sir.
That's how it begins and it ends with him worshiping the angel.
And it baffles me.
Yeah, it does.
And for me as well, just oftentimes feeling, boy, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Feeling condemned by my own thoughts. Feeling like, what God, what you do with me? Cussing myself. I never cuss myself really I'm good.
Yeah. A woman called me today and she said she just said to me, the Lord says to tell you. I was frightened at the things that she said. And I said, no, that could not come from God.
Yeah.
Because what she was describing to me, I don't know that about myself.
Jesus.
And yet she said, that's what God said.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I don't know, sometimes the way I see myself, and the things that come first of all, is not so much what I am doing and is how I'm feeling.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But God, you can't send nobody who will tell me that.
Yeah.
I don't say myself. I feel worse than Paul, like beyond the worst of sinners. You know, and so these are just some of the things that pushes us in a direction that says my Christianity is not authentic because we're not living the way I perceive that I should be living it, or when my community we should be living it, and so on. So these are some of the challenges we face.
I remember going through a struggle and coming to you, and along the same lines, boy, and I just want to give up. And he made a statement to me, God doesn't just want the strengths, he's also interested in using the weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And that keep me under because like my weaknesses, we don't know what God put me in so much. And then people tend to see the strengths and commend me for them, but as I said, internally I'm saying, God, but I don't feel like this.
True.
You know, I'm not there. And along the whole conversation of forgiveness, there is the flip side, or maybe we have to ask the question, does it come from a place of self-loathing, self-hating?
And this is where I think a lot of us as men struggle. Look at what happened to, as we were talking last week about Barabbas.
Yeah.
Barabbas, Bar, son of Abbas, the father. The son of the father. That name must have meant a lot to him.
Yeah, man, for sure.
But he wasn't living it up.
Yeah.
And then here comes Jesus, who takes his place, who forgives him. And then I wondered to myself, as I was recording elsewhere, I was wondering myself, did he go to crucifixion and watch them crucify Jesus?
Yeah.
And how did that make him feel? Did it pull him to Jesus? Or did it make him hate himself some more?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a net effect. That sometimes even the good things that happen to us, we say we don't deserve it. We say we become guilty because whenever we did. We become self-loathing because we don't think we should have gotten off. And sometimes this is a part of my Christianity that I don't get. That boy, it seems as though me should I get a beating for this? Me should I get a punishment for this? Why you gotta promote me in quotes when it shouldn't be. And so I sometimes believe I should be punished. I should be doing some penance thing. I should be going through some things when grace says you're forgiven.
And it's what we are taught.
It is.
It's what we are taught.
Yeah.
And you know, the question may be, does the self-hate, self-loathing come from a position of guilt? What are the underlying factors? Why would I hate myself while preaching?
Yeah.
You know, is it that it comes from the whole thing of I'm not good enough?
Yeah.
Or boy, I did this thing and I'm feeling guilty about it. And from my Pentecostal circle, I see God as a judge. Hellfire go burn you. You're living on a knife's edge. What are the underlying factors that feed this self-hate?
Yeah. A part of it is our religion, our religiosity.
Religiosity.
That makes us feel say, the religion is so important to us that we forget the relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The law is so important to us that we forget that we're not living on law in that sense. Our obedience can be empty, but that we can find ourselves in a healthy relationship with someone who says, "You are in me."
Glory. Yeah.
And we miss it, and we miss it because we don't think we should be forgiven. And because we don't think we should be forgiven, we don't think that God has forgiven us.
True.
And sometimes our own memory of our sins are longer than God's memory of our sins. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it can be otherwise, because if me do something last night that me know this honor God, it will stay with me. But then he says he casts it into the sea of his forgetfulness. True. And I guess I will know how to try to frame something that says, "Boy, God, I appreciate the fact that you've forgiven me. I can't forget it so easily." But my frame says, "You still love me and you still accept me."
Yeah.
And I don't know if we get there. Because if we do that, I think our fear is, boy, may I take that for granted. Me never serious when I say I'm sorry. And the whole range of things we do to ourselves. Because I'm a Christian, if I sin, it means I'm presumptuous. Because I have the Holy Spirit inside of me. And we take those frames, that makes it harder for us to forgive ourselves when we're wrong.
Yeah.
The history says that Barabbas went back to his life of killing. And you wonder to yourself, how did he get there? But then I ask myself, would I have done differently?
True.
Because I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
I don't deserve it. So we tend to see us forgiving ourselves as we saying, I deserve to be forgiven.
True.
Without understanding that when I say I am forgiving myself, what it means is that I am learning to empower myself to live the way that God wants me to live.
True.
And I think too often, especially as men, we miss that component of learning to forgive yourself, learning to love yourself, learning to value yourself, learning to live in the image of God.
True. And you know, as Mr. We can share whatever I want to share with my life. No bars old.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was in my pastoral internship, and I went to the passport office and saw a young lady from a particular faith.
Yes.
And did my pastoral internship, when I went to pastor, just give me pulpit.
Okay.
So boy, Robert has seen the giftings in you
Yeah.
and all these things and give me pulpit. And after our holy period done, before mine starts, one long conversation and I preached on the morning.
Yeah.
And she tell me what she had to do to me and all the indulgences of my own flesh and everything.
Yes.
And I had a wonderfully prepared sermon, as I said at the time, wonderfully prepared sermon.
Yes.
And we got church Sunday morning and I say, yes, you know,
Yeah.
they look
Are we
like
did-
a somebody.
are we did-
And where the Holy Spirit said, if you preach a sermon there, we're going to mute you. And this if you preach, you have to tell the people where the last time. I said, God, them mother, this Satan have banned in the name of Jesus.
The blood.
Cannot be from God. And like about 20 minutes before I went up, the Holy Spirit said, are you going to obey what I tell you to do? And I went inside and quickly penned a sermon, Conquering the Serpent Within.
Yes.
And said that the serpent without is the least of our battle. It's a serpent within me that needs conquering. And I shared the experience of that on Saturday night. And when I was finished, the youth pastor was on the floor, wallowing. The young men just, and I'm like, God, again, it's my weakness.
Yes.
It's my weakness.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things, I mean, that just, I'm baffled because I don't prefer God to say, well, don't go there at all.
Right. And
But he said,
expose of it.
yeah. But he said, here, more you just be transparent
Absolutely.
and just talk what is happening with you. And going back, how do we help a man who is not a Christian? Because we who are Christian, we can talk about Bible and we can reference and look at whatever else. How do we help a man who is not a Christian? Who is going to say, I look at Christians and I see Christians serving a God, who is going to make me feel worse about myself.
Yeah.
Because he's over me and he is going to remind me of my wrongs. The law is there as a old school master, making me know, say, oh yeah, sin like that.
Yes.
Like, how are you in the street, a murderer, who want to become a Christian? I've encountered some. But them say, yo, Robert, you know what I'm doing that. It's like, you know the things I want to do.
Absolutely.
A man who has raped a woman, and him in the street, you know, have salvation. But he must say, yo, I just can't, like, them things I live from my shoulder.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you think these men don't even contemplate the whole thing.
Yeah,
of
that's it.
forgiveness. How do we help such a person?
We have to begin to help, you know, one of our politicians some long time ago had said some young men were irredeemable and some other things. And we're not to buy into that mindset of anyone, any human being irredeemable. Because we are all subjects of God's grace and mercy. What the enemy has done is caused us to believe that you don't deserve forgiveness. And some people are refusing to forgive us, and because some people are refusing to forgive us, we decide that then I can't forgive myself. You know? And we suppose that I can't forgive myself must be a badge of honor somehow. But what it does, it debilitates us. It takes away from us any capacity to go beyond that thing that we did. It ties us. And that's why unforgiveness is such a prison. Unforgiveness is a prison that locks you up so much so that you can't get out. It's not no question of whether or not the person should get their right desserts. The first thing Jesus did on the cross was say, Father, forgive them. It is the essence of freeing ourselves. It is the essence of freeing others.
Yeah, as I said before, this is Ishden, the program like no other program. Right here, just two Jamaican brethren, brothers, just sitting and dialoguing around issues that concern maleness, manhood, masculinity, these different terms that we hear thrown about. I hope that the first segment was a blessing. If you understand, sometimes the behind the scenes thing would shed some light on what happened. I had to be using my cell phone, as you may be able to tell, and at about 20 minutes, the cell phone stopped record. And Napoleon and I were in conversation for about the next 20 minutes, and we were about to call the program a wrap. Somebody was there and said, Bridget, the thing stopped recording. So we just kind of divided it up, and we said, you know what, let's throw Austin in the middle of it. So stick and stay and listen to Father Austin's insight.
It's okay for a man to cry. My father, when he had his first stroke, he had 4 before he died, he cried when he confessed to me that he really loved me, And it was the first, in my decades of living up to that time that I'd seen my father cried. I could ask a question, a few questions were taboo. Would a real man buy feminine products for his woman? Would he do the laundry? Would a real man hang out his woman's undergarments on the line? Do you handle those said same undergarments during sexual intercourse? Please, answer as a man. And don't get it gender twisted. No, we have to man up. Let me tell you something. I know I'm speaking to an international audience, but the part will come in more time, because when we get really passionate, the part will come in. What is Abraham? Abraham was less than chivalrous. We dealt with Sarah. Not once, but twice. Less than chivalrous. Some Jamaican man would call him a wuss. Twice he sold her out to save his own skin. As great a patriarch as he was a coward at the time when he put her in another man's harem. He actually took his wife and put her in another man's harem. That was cowardice. Adam dropped the ball. For in Genesis 3:6 it says, when the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. God had given Adam specific instructions. He should have played the right role and correct his helpmate. Instead, he allowed her to influence him in the wrongdoing. And trust me, we're still seeing that happening today. Many men, because they're afraid for sharp luck, they capitulate to what they know to be faulty. No, don't get it wrong. I am not saying that the sexual act was original sin. I'm not even saying sex was anywhere there, part or parcel of original sin. I'm just saying that you have men today, instead of being the man, allow their manhood to be influenced into doing faulty things because of a desire for the flesh. In today's world, if a man ran from the veggie, as Joseph did with Potiphar's wife, he would be castigated, and yes, I'm using castigated deliberately, and he would be laughed at. But Joseph was being a man after God's own heart. As I said, bouncing from extreme to extreme, because there are some brethren who make the curse to be a prize for themselves. In Genesis, it also says to the woman, he said, I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor, you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. This is a curse, brethren, a curse. And because we are redeemed, we should not perpetuate the curse of ruling over our women. We shouldn't. And don't make me talk about man like David and Solomon. No, man. Them man, they're a good youth, them, you know. But them do some things in our scripture. We are teach we the things that are not manly. The things that men should not do. Solomon and them gal in a bungle behavior. No, it sure we say, women are doing 300 wife. An X amount of concubine. It a show we say, no, that I know we a man for aspire to. Because them see enough wife they carry him astray. David, Bathsheba, Uriah. No, sir. Them story that shows if we just have a one burner, stick to the one burner. You know, don't bother stray with your eyes. There are there in scriptures to keep us on the straight and narrow. Enough more would I like say, but time is limited, and the brethren have said much. Now listen to me as I conclude. The deeper differences between man and woman are not superior or inferior competencies. They are dispositions and inclinations written in the heart. It is about what is in the soul of man. Listen this. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Ask yourself this question. Do you want to be a man, or do you want to be a man of God? Blessings.
Listen, I'm sure that Father Austin brought some light on this whole conversation that we're having. Might not be this conversation or this topic, but you know, is it legit for a young man or old man, whichever man, to go out and buy pads for his girlfriend? Is that the definition of manliness? Will Marshall have a song about "You must be dreaming"? Are Will Marshall? Oh, them fear bad man and the house cleaning. So these are some of the topics that we're going to tackle for real. So this aspect of the program, we have a riveting conversation coming up. Continuation of the same conversation we were having before. And Napoleon shared a story that was earth-moving. You know, the first time he encountered his dad and how that shaped the man that he was trying to become and trying to avoid some stuff that he saw in his father. So enjoy. I'm sure you'll be moved by this as well. So stick and stay, don't go nowhere. We'll soon come.
So we spoke about the whole aspect of, you know, self-hate, self-condemnation. But these are for things that we have done.
Right.
There are some things that we received, things that are perpetrated against us, and we find ourselves feeling less than worthy because of these things. You know, in our context, it's the mother who said you're worthless like a pop because daddy didn't step up to the game.
Yeah.
You know, or it's the granny because in another context, mother don't want nothing to do with the picnic, so she left the picnic with the granny, and the granny turned on stress, abusive, and these kind of things. Or the father who said, "No, so you could be a female picnic."
Yes. Yeah, and in my own, I have my own anthology of poems from early youth, early as well. And I have one of those poems that talk about how my mother hurt me. I have never at any point in my life doubted my mother's love for me. She works in a cane piece at Holland Holland Estate for all of us. There's nothing to be compared to that. She wept over us. She prayed over us. She made sure as much as it depended on her. We had whatever clothes we had was clean clothes. We didn't have shoes. We didn't have those things. We didn't always have a meal to go to bed, but we had a mother. But we also knew some of the tough things she said to us. I'm her first child. She had me when she was 17 years old. It must have been very, very tough for a girl trying to raise myself, my brothers and my sisters in a space that was very, very difficult for her at the time. And then now when she tries to get my father involved in my life, it was absolutely tough. When she took a summons or whatever it was down to the police station to serve on my dad, nobody would serve it because they knew my father, they were friends. So she felt powerless because the system conspired against her. She felt powerless because the culture was saying, is you go breed? Kind of a thing. Is you responsible? So she knew what to do. And that came out at me for sure, and I'm sure for Eric and the others in different ways. And we heard it. You're black like your pa. You're junker, you're dead dog, you're dead carry, you're not come out to know. All of those things I heard from her. Some of my siblings would have heard from her. And we never thought that's because she was wicked to us. But her frustration, her venom was poured out on us, for sure. Things that really we had no control over as children. And I thank God for young men especially who have gone through that space and have come out okay. Because it has been a grueling part of what we have. Yes, you know, we hear that sticks and stones may break my bones. Your words can't harm me. Can I tell you that some of the words, that's how you did it.
Yeah, man, true.
On the other side of that, when we were being beaten by my mother, it was not a sit down and conversation and then let's discuss it. No, when my mother was beating us, it was murderation, proper murderation. So she was beating us to impress the village that she was in charge of the boy. You know, and it's a boy, and he have to be beaten because it's a boy. And boy, not a telling. So it had to be a clear beating. And so the community had to hear that we were being beaten. That was important in terms of her putting a stamp on her family. But of course, as well, the whole sense of community understanding that here was a young woman trying to nurture her children, me, then Eric, two boys first to begin with, and then she's struggling with that. And then how to deal with that, how to shape boys in a space like that. Tough. And then of course, she's not only beating you for what you did in the moment, then she's beating you for what you did yesterday and what you did before. And she remembers something that she already beat you for from the time. And so everything is coming up. So it was a proper murderation. And on top of that, Bobby, my mother stuttered.
So they say, parents that will ever be me. Say, you, no, in your kid, me.
You understand? Absolutely. So until I am on down at the bottom of the road. Seriously, you're killing the boy. And I'm sure many of us can enjoy that. And for some of us, out of our respect for our mother, we allow it. And others have grown up bitter. And angry against mother. So the mother paradigm for them is wicked. In fact, some of them have turned against women.
True.
And have found themselves in unhealthy male-male relationships as a consequence of having found themselves in those situations. Some have found identity not in family, but in the gang. And many of them have gone through homosexual rites to join the gang and so on, so that they have lost everything. And if they can go through a homosexual experience to be in that camp, there's nothing they won't do. You know? And so many different ways have suffered and have been wounded and are carrying the wounds and are perpetuating the wounds. So that what we find with some of these boys is that they become angry and hostile and anti-establishment and anti-family.
That's a mantra.
All of that. And we see that because too, some of them don't think that they live beyond 21.
True.
some of them live that they go in a way that say, whatever, I'm going to go prison anyways, that happened to my father. There's a father to school mentality, and all of those kind of narratives that have informed so much in terms of how our boys have been socialized, not because they made choices, but because of
Choices were made for them.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
how they were beaten, how they were battered, bruised, how they were abused, and Bobby, how some of them were sexualized
From very early.
from very early.
Yeah. And that's another thing in Napoleon. We don't, in the church, we don't discuss the issue of male sexual abuse.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
When the man is the victim.
Yeah.
It's always, and we understand,
Yeah.
but there is no space. There is that, you know, legally, there is no space for a man to turn up at a police station and say,
He was raped.
I was raped. They're not going to, nah, man, you just get some front if you can say that, you know?
Yeah.
You should be rejoicing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So how do we again, and does this feed into the perpetuation of this misaligned sexuality, not just in terms of male-male relationships,
Yes.
but in terms of the aggression used in sex by some man towards women. So the terminology is dagger, stab, beat, mash the works,
Yes.
and these, does this help to feed into it?
It does. It's kill that. It's mash up that. It's slamming at that.
Yeah, man.
And all of the language we hear is coarse. It's vulgar, and it is represented in how we think of the other.
Yeah.
So I am to destroy that.
Yep.
I'm to rip that up, kind of a thing. And it goes to tell the psyche of male, female sexuality and male, female sexual experiences.
Yeah.
And how men see women. And again, Bobby, how a lot of our women in this power structure
Yeah.
end up accusing themselves, feeling guilty,
Yeah.
suffering unnecessary shame when her being a girl, wearing her clothes the way she wants, trying to have a good relationship with a male, end up being raped and molested and touched inappropriately. And the result is somebody says, boy, you did a beg for it. You know what I mean? Somebody says, and that's it, got your for. And especially when a girl comes to church and was raped, how she's treated by the congregation. You must have done something wrong. You must have gone in the way of the man for him to have done that. As if to say, when that girl had said no in the moment, that her word meant nothing because her frack did already shout. You know, these are just some of the things that will change in the thinking, in the psyche, especially of men who just see women as a part of their right. And theirs by right, or property to be exploited. Or a culture that pushes the notion that somehow the woman is just there to serve male sexual. Again, sadly, Robert, we see notions of it in the Bible. If we don't understand the narrative properly. And sadly, we see that in how some of our church leaders treat our women.
Yeah, true.
That needs to be fixed as well.
True. And on that matter, how crucial is it to forgive? And you know, we're looking at male issues, but we're speaking to more than the male community.
Right.
You know, I had a response from a female who's raising a young boy, and she said she's glad that she's watching this.
Yes.
But how do we speak to the overall thing of forgiving others so you can forgive yourself? What does that mean?
One of the things that our sisters have to learn to do, those who are being raped, sexually molested, sexually abused, and I want to say to you, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
It was not because your frock went too short. It was not because it was night. None of those things. It is because some man was wicked and has done this to you. Stop today. Stop blaming yourself for what happened. You didn't do that. So we have to have a different kind of conversation, certainly on that particular point. But hear us say from this vantage point, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And you may need some help to work through what's happening with you. But let's change the narrative from thinking that you did something wrong and it must have been that you caused it on yourself. Let's begin there to start. how can that young woman begin to talk, to change her boy's perspective, to help him to live in the way that he could live and should live? Is begin the conversation early.
Yeah.
As he is able to appreciate the conversation, begin to share with him.
Mm-hmm.
Importantly though, begin to affirm him as male.
Yes.
He is a boy child, and help him to appreciate the fact that he's male. And that means something, because that's how God brought him into the world as male. And help him to understand as best as you can what it means to function as a boy, how to function as male as he's growing up into manhood.
Yeah.
So start the conversation there, and that's a key place to start. I think that's important about it.
And for the young boy,
Mhm.
you know, who has issues with his father, for the young boy, you know, who is struggling to be something, wanting to be something but can't come from under the burden of what daddy did to me.
Yeah.
And maybe the young boy as well who was molested by an aunt and uncle, whoever, but as well is struggling with finding himself, struggling with forgiving himself because me make this happen to me.
Yeah. Well, I can think of my own story, and I'm pretty sure it's similar to so many other stories in our culture across the Caribbean and maybe elsewhere.
Yeah.
I did have my father when I was growing up, and when I see a helicopter passing, I just tell people that my father is a helicopter driver. So now come on no PTA meeting, now come on in that church, and that was one of the things. Because my father don't do those things. My father is a helicopter driver. Busy.
Important job.
Yeah, very important one. So when I see a helicopter at school, I just say to the youth,
Daddy that.
Daddy that.
Yeah.
And they held me in high regard, because my father was this mystery man. Until one day, Bobby, he rides into my village on his Honda 50. And what a thing it was. Me playing with Blue and Gary and Tony and Denzel and all of them. Full of white man, because you know we're in the road. We don't know what clothes is in the sense of clothes. We have like a little piece of thing with a. So he drives in, he rides in, and he goes into the shop, and he's talking to the shopkeeper, and then I hear, "Black, see a boy there." I walk into this. This is my hero. I mean, I'm meeting him for the very first time. My hero has walked into my village. And Black say, and the shopkeeper says, "Come here, boy, the father here." And I went in there, Bobby, and I looked at this man. All I wanted was just bow down and worship. Because finally my father has come. And then he says to me, what do you want? I don't know if it was in derision. I don't know, because looking at me, I don't know that I would have wanted this boy looking all marred up, all dirty, barefooted, head nothing. I don't know if maybe he was disappointed in seeing. I don't know. And then I thought to myself, no, what could I possibly want from my hero? And I said, a bun and a drinks. And he says to me, "Move! Come out! Go away!" That was my first encounter with my father. And I held my head down with every thud of eye drop, shaking the shop peers at the shop floor. And Tony and Blue and Gary, they start laughing.
Boys and boys.
And Bobby, I carried that pain with me into adulthood, into marriage. That deep sense of being wounded that way by my father. Not only that he wasn't there for my mom, but now encountering him, this is what I felt. And I began to resolve as a little boy that I wanted to be absolutely nothing like him. I'm now an adult, I'm now married, I'm now settled. And my sister from his official family comes visiting, and we're laughing and talking, and my sister Nadine says, "You are just like that." It's like time froze. And it struck me hard that I really can't run from father, because inside of me are some things that I carry that mark him. And the idea of image, that you bear image. You bear your father's image. And so perhaps for there's a young man who might need to hear that as much as you don't want to be like your father, all of that. There are parts of you that are important to you because your father left that imprint on you. Bobby, fathers do some things that mothers can't do.
True.
And with the greatest of respect, mothers can't father their daughters. With the greatest of respect, they can't father their sons. Yeah. Some implants that only that parent can give to both children. I thank God for those brothers especially who have overcome this, who have succeeded, not unintentionally, but in overcome in their own sense of who they are, their value, their worth, their significance, in spite of what the narrative has been for them. I am 52 years old, and I think that I am still healing from some of my experiences these many years later. But it is important we have the conversation, and we have conversation as well for men out there who are still trying to catch up what their fathers did.
Yeah, true.
Who are still wearing their trousers and their backsides because they still want to be a boy. They have not yet come to that place of adult. I don't mean to diss the culture or anything. I'm just saying it's part of the reality where some of our adult men are still boys crying for their fathers.
It is a sure narrative, and you see it, and it becomes magnified when this happens within our context from the pulpit.
Absolutely.
It becomes magnified when you go to an establishment to work and you see this in the leader, because everybody's struggling, but it's magnified when you see it in the leader. You made a statement, and you have pastors at heart, right? So you made a statement which I want us to maybe start the healing process, or the conversation on healing there. You looked at your likeness to your earthly father in the way that your laughter, your outbursts, right? Because you have a rambunctious laugh, as Miss Lewis said, right?
Yes.
And your sister was able to say...
To connect.
Yeah, to connect.
Meet the father.
Right? Now, how do we start the conversation, again going to Genesis 1-2, of self-forgiveness, healing, releasing the condemnation, releasing the guilt that you feel, looking at the imago Dei, the image of the Father in us? How do we make that connect?
It is what Jesus did, I think, or a part of it certainly. And this is going to be so difficult for some of us as men. I hear Paul talking about it too. To win some, I'm going to become all things to all men. And Jesus, if we understand what Jesus did in his self-veiling, it will blow our thinking. So he becomes one of us.
Yeah, man.
One of us. The Holy God becomes one of us and is touching the stench and is hugging the broken.
Yeah.
And I wondered to myself whether or not, as a pastor, if I'd be willing to pull my trousers down and drop it down my waist so that I can go and sit and have a conversation with those youths, not because you want to affirm the thing, but so that you can have a sense of identity with them so that I can move to the next level without what the congregation or others have said. You're losing me? You're crazy? How you must be like that?
I can't.
Bobby, we'll lock you here.
I can't. It's necessary.
Absolutely.
It's necessary.
It's part of the Jesus story. You know the big theological words.
Let's not trade on
that says identifying with people where they are. The problem is we are so other that we can't connect with another. That's a part of the problem. We become so other that we can't connect with another in our own space. So this youth will never come to this church because the pastor now identify with me in talk a certain kind of language, in more link up with Rabbi Zacharias than with Muta Baruka.
And you know what
you don't understand? So there are all of these narratives that we have to face and we have to confront in our own culture and with our own cultural dynamic. If we're going to lift people first in terms of their thinking about themselves, we have to understand how they are thinking.
Yeah, man.
We have to understand why they are thinking, and we have to have a conversation there. We can't start it at this high flown level. They can't assess it. It's not so much a location as it is what's happening in the mind. And we have to begin the conversation there. I think it's critical. And I think we as church are dropping the ball. You see, the Judaizers in the early church, they wanted the people to become Jews before they could become Christians.
Yeah. And somehow we are
In our
trying to
paradigm,
do the very same thing.
in our paradigm, I want
Yeah.
people to be brethren before they can become Christians.
Yeah.
You want people to be
Tongue speaking, Holy Ghost
Absolutely,
filled, water baptized
before they can become
Yeah.
Christians, and without accepting people, just as Jesus did.
Yeah.
The girl who was caught in the very act of adultery. Jesus embraced her where she was. Never pressure her, cuss her out, and how could you? No.
Yeah.
The girl who went by the pool, the place to get some water. Conversation there with her, and if we can begin a conversation with people, the girl with the issue of blood,
Yeah.
that's a conversation with people where they are, hear them, giving proper judgment, keep the narrative simple, and critically, you live it out.
Yeah.
Because what people want are men living it out.
Authenticity.
Absolutely.
And transparency.
Absolutely. And when we say we want you to be authentic, we're not asking you to be holy.
No.
We're not asking you to be perfect. We want to hear your struggle too.
Yeah, man.
We want to hear when you did drop the ball and what you did when you dropped the ball.
Yeah.
We want to hear that you're a human being, maybe a few steps ahead, but we're walking together.
Yeah.
And that's important.
And I think one of the things, just to use an analogy, we are too often trying to pull people out rather than to push people
Oh,
up.
absolutely.
And the pushing people up meaning I need to get down there.
Absolutely.
I am not up here trying to wave you and say, jump on and me catch it, jump up, me catch it. I'm down there with you in your mire, letting you know that I've had this experience as well, and I know where the hand hole is. Like when I did climbing while in Northern Ireland, I never went to a place that I had never climbed before. The persons I went with, they knew where the hand holes were for me to get to the peak. So when I'm putting the belly rope and these kind of things, they could see when I'm stuck.
Yes.
They could say, Robert, just lean towards the right. And I can't see it. But
you can trust them.
every single time I just push my hand around, there was a crevice in the rock that I could use to navigate myself out. And I think that is crucial, that we don't present ourselves as somebody who is so much up here that I'm not willing to become incarnated in your pain, incarnated in your suffering.
Are you saying
Don't
after all?
this could help, right? Getting into your pain, your suffering, taking it on as if it's my own, and assisting. And I think that is the perfect place for the healing space to be.
Absolutely.
Right? And I love the connect. We always, as I said, most of my sermons grow, like they go to Genesis 2, Genesis 1, the image of God. We have to connect. Boys have to connect. Our men have to let them know, listen, it's marred, it's tainted. I don't like to say everyone have a spark and the divine in there, but it's true. There's something here. I don't like the language, but it makes sense. Yeah. And we have to connect connect our boys to this Imago Day.
Yeah. If there is no image, Bobby, there is no kingdom.
There can be none.
And we can't teach kingdom until we begin to teach image.
There can be none.
Yes, it's important. And we have got stuck in a Christian mold that knows nothing of kingdom. We have gotten stuck in a Christian mold that is almost. We have gotten stuck in a mold, a Christian mold that is almost anti-kingdom.
It's in many cases we find that,
and it has to be fixed in Christian thinking.
In many cases.
So when we begin to understand kingdom, just as we were talking about last time, we centered kingdom in relationship.
Yeah.
Jesus says, "I'm about my Father's business." And our identity first is in relationship to image.
Yes.
And that's a conversation Jesus had with those whose image is on this coin.
Yeah.
So, and they said, Caesar's. Well, But the real question is, whose image is on you?
Yeah.
You know, and I think very often we miss that part of the conversation because we want Caesar's image or
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
other image, because image is so important to us. And if we don't deal with our own issues, the issues of forgiveness, the issues of our inner wounds, our inner brokenness, the fact is, it is so because the image has been broken.
Yeah.
The image has been shattered. And what Jesus does when Jesus comes is a renewal of image. So he brings you into new creation.
Yes.
He brings you into a new sun. He brings you into a new day. He brings you into a new word. He brings you into a new space. And that's what kingdom does when we embrace a new image.
Yeah. And you know, one of my favorite scriptures, let this mind that is in Christ Jesus
Yes.
be also in you.
Philippians 2. Yeah.
And there is a space, a place for the reshaping
Yeah.
of the mind in the self-forgiveness
Yes.
framing, in
Absolutely.
the freedom of self framing. And though we're using the word self a lot, we want to know that we are not saying, you know, that through some
Self-serving.
self-serving
Right.
principles,
Rather than
then
a self-surrender.
yes,
Yes. So that we can find our true self, because the more we look like the image, the more we find our true self. And the more
Edwin
we,
Cole.
absolutely, that's what
the epitome of manhood is Christ-likeness.
Absolutely. And the more Christ-like we become, the more human we become.
Yes,
Because we have some wrong notions of humanness. We are somebody, for instance, say, I become a human when I do this.
Yeah.
As if to say, human could only mean failure. Human could
Error.
only mean,
It's human.
rather than my humanness means I can be the best that God wants me
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
And that's how we should be pushing humanness,
Yeah.
equating, if you can say equating, Christ-likeness in that sense, that we become more and more like Him. And what God wants us in our humanness is to be more like Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, He doesn't take us out of this space and make us Christ-like in another dimension. It's right here, lived out practically, where we become more and more and more like Him.
Yeah. And spend maybe 90 seconds painting the Jews have the principle of bar mitzvah,
Yes,
the rites of passage.
rites of passage.
How could we bring that into our construct to help our boys and help our men who are still boys? How could we bring that into our reality?
I my own experience, I learned that I was a man when I was listening to the radio, and I heard the news item went like this: an 18-year-old man was killed. That's when I knew that I was a man.
Yeah, yeah.
On the news about somebody who was killed, who was 18 years old. What if I had a narrative, and what if I had a space that helps me to understand that when I was a boy, I did boyish things, I did childlike things or childish things. But now that I'm a man, I put away.
Yeah.
I was never taught that put away component to become
Yeah.
or to embrace manhood. And it is important because, again, we have so many of our men who have not put away boyish ways.
Yeah. True.
And it is only in this rites of passage space that we can help to positively do it.
Yeah.
Sadly, what we're seeing happening is some of our more affluent fathers giving their boy a girl and say, do this and that will make him.
Yeah, yeah, true.
In other spaces, it's a father giving a boy a cigarette. Say, this is no, you're not a man.
Origin. These
Origin.
things. Yeah.
So we need a positive frame that helps our boys to understand that this is what it means. It means integrity. It means pursuing God in a particular way. It means understanding how you're to relate more properly to women. It means what to have a kahal, a community of other men that will hold you accountable.
Yeah.
It will mean a name change, at least symbolically, to say
man.
that whereas you are named this, we now name you this,
Yeah.
to represent a different kind of reality. I did that to my own son, and I thank God that I did it, And I've seen his own growth and development as he began to think for himself. Can I tell him, Bobby, that parts of that journey has been difficult.
Yeah, I know. I've vicariously experienced it through my brother. So
But it's understanding that you're releasing him
Yeah.
into manhood
Be
with
the
the
man.
kind of foundation that he'll give,
Yeah.
knowing that he'll be alright.
Yeah.
But far too often in the dialogue today, we don't see the transitioning taking place, and that's tragic.
I am a man, I am a man, I am a man, yes. Strong man. Integrity man, I am a man. Hey people, this has been Ishden, and I hope that somehow the conversation that we have been having has just moved you, like just move you. If you're a man, you want to become a better man, If you are a female, you want to help the men in your life to become better men. I really and truly just hope that somehow this has helped to shape you, this has helped to, just touch you. Because we are just trying to be honest, transparent, and we are trying to be as informative as we can from a kingdom perspective. So until next time, this is the boy Robert Green saying peace out on behalf of Austin. Father Austin, big up yourself. And Napoleon Black, my brother. Boom! See you next time.
Someone told me about your love, how you came from heaven above, how you came and died for me, died on Calvary. No wind, no rain, no grief, no pain can separate me from your love, so free. Someone told me about your love, how you came from heaven above, how you came.
head over to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified when we put up a new video. Also, leave a comment so we can know what to think about our program. Thank ya.